The sun rose gently over the rolling hills of New Haven Colony. Morning light spilled across fields of blue-green crops that weren't quite like Earth's wheat, but served the same purpose. John Mason stood on the porch of their farmhouse, coffee, mug in hand, watching his children help their mother with the morning chores. "Ethan, make sure you check the water filters before school," Linda called to their 16-year-old son, who was already heading toward the equipment shed. "Got it, Mom," Ethan replied, his tall frame moving with the easy confidence of youth. 14-year-old Olivia was helping her mother with the garden, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "Do you think Aunt Catherine will visit for the harvest festival this year?" she asked, hope clear in her voice. Linda exchanged a glance with John. They both knew how busy Catherine was. As Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, General Catherine Mason had responsibilities that spanned the entire human territory. "Your aunt tries her best, sweetheart," John said. "But she protects all of us by doing her job." Olivia nodded, but her disappointment was clear. She idolized her aunt, keeping pictures of Catherine in her military uniform on her bedroom wall, alongside star charts and spacecraft diagrams. Since she was 10, Olivia had talked about joining the Space Academy, just like her aunt had done 30 years earlier. John sipped his coffee and looked up at the clear blue sky. Moving to New Haven had been a big change 3 years ago, but after the overcrowding on Earth and the pollution on Mars, this peaceful colony on the edge of human space felt like paradise. Here, his family could breathe fresh air and live simply. They could see the stars at night. "Dad, the comms unit is blinking," Ethan called from inside the house. John frowned. The emergency alert system rarely activated. He placed his mug on the porch railing and went inside, Linda following close behind. The display showed a colony-wide alert. "Unusual activity detected near orbit. All residents advised to prepare for standard safety protocols." "Probably another sensor malfunction," John said, but he couldn't quite keep the worry from his voice. Living on the edge of human space had its risks. The Galactic Hegemony, a powerful alliance of alien species, had made it clear they viewed humanity's expansion with suspicion. Linda checked the family's emergency kit anyway. Better safe than sorry. In orbit above New Haven, Commander Zach Zitoral of the Hegemony patrol vessel, Righteous Claw, studied the small human settlement with compound eyes that could process information faster than any human optical system. "Scans complete, Commander," his second-in-command reported. "Minimal defenses. No military presence detected." Zach Zitoral's faceplates shifted in what passed for satisfaction among his species. "The Council ordered a demonstration. These humans expand too quickly, establish colonies too close to our territories. This settlement appears to be primarily agricultural," the science officer noted. "Our intelligence suggests it's mostly family units." "Perfect," Zach Zitoral said. "A clear message without significant military engagement. Target their power infrastructure and communications array only. The humans must learn their boundaries." But, as targeting systems locked onto the colony, a junior officer made a critical error, entering incorrect coordinates that shifted the target zone directly over the outlying farmlands where the Mason homestead stood. Back on the ground, John's comm unit chimed with an incoming call from the colony center. "Mason, this is Administrator Parker. We're getting reports of a hegemony vessel in orbit. They've made no contact or demands. We're evacuating outlying homesteads as a precaution." John felt his heart rate quicken. "Understood. We'll head to the shelter immediately." "Dad?" Olivia's voice trembled slightly as she stood in the doorway. "It's just a precaution," John assured her, but he moved quickly. "Ethan, get the emergency packs." Linda shut down all non-essential systems. The family moved with practiced efficiency. Living on the frontier meant regular drills for various emergencies. Within minutes, they were loading their small ground vehicle. "What about the animals?" Ethan asked, looking toward their small barn where they kept a few livestock. "They'll be fine in the shelter," John said, though he wasn't entirely sure. "We need to focus on us right now." Above them, on the Righteous Claw, alarm suddenly blared. "Commander, detecting missile launch from the surface," the tactical officer shouted. "Impossible," Stor said. Our intelligence indicated no weapons. The view screen. A small object rose from the colony's research facility. A weather satellite scheduled for launch that day, its heat signature resembling a primitive missile to the hegemony's sensors. They dare attack us? Zaxatoral's voice rose with indignation. Switch to full defensive protocol, target the launch site and surrounding area. But Commander, our orders were for limited demonstration only. They have escalated, we respond. Accordingly, on the bridge of the hegemony vessel no one questioned the commander further. Within seconds, energy weapons powered up, targeting solutions locked, and beams of superheated plasma lanced down toward the planet's surface. The Mason family had just finished loading their vehicle when John noticed a strange light in the sky. During MO, "In now!" he shouted, suddenly understanding with terrible clarity what was happening. Linda grabbed Olivia's hand and pulled her toward the vehicle. Ethan was already climbing into the back seat. John ran around to the driver's side, keys in hand. The first plasma beam struck 2 kilometers away, the impact shaking the ground. The second hit closer, scorching the edge of their property. The third struck directly. From the colony center, Administrator Parker watched in horror as multiple plasma beams struck the outlying areas. Emergency communications filled with panic and confusion. Through it all, the administrator desperately tried to make contact with the homesteads in the target zone. "Mason family, please respond. John, Linda, can anyone hear me?" There was no answer from the Mason homestead, only static. In orbit, Commander Zaxtoral watched with satisfaction as the plasma beams hit their targets. That should prevent further missile launches. Send the standard warning message to their government, then set course back to hegemony space. "Commander," the science officer said hesitantly, "I'm detecting no military equipment in the impact zones. The energy signature we interpreted as a missile launch appears to have been civilian technology." Zaxatoral's faceplates shifted slightly. Noted in the report as regrettable collateral damage. The High Council wanted a demonstration. They got one. The Righteous Claw turned away from New Haven, accelerating to faster than light speed, leaving behind smoldering craters where farms had stood only minutes before. On Earth, in the heavily secured Central Command complex, an aide approached General Catherine Mason during a routine briefing. "General, urgent message from the frontier. The colony on New Haven has been attacked by hegemony forces." Catherine maintained her composure, her face betraying nothing. "Casualties?" "Still being assessed, ma'am. The colony's main facilities are intact, but several outlying homesteads were destroyed. We're compiling a list of residents now." Catherine nodded briskly. "Continue the briefing. I'll review the New Haven situation afterward." Only hours later, alone in her office, did General Mason allow herself to look at the casualty list. And only then, seeing the names, John, Linda, Ethan, and Olivia Mason, did her carefully maintained composure finally break. General Catherine Mason stood at the large window in her office, looking out at the sprawling Central Command complex. The lights of the buildings glowed against the evening sky. Her reflection stared back at her from the glass, her face a mask that revealed nothing of the storm inside her. The casualty report from New Haven Colony lay on her desk. She had read it 17 times now. Each time the names remained the same. John Mason, Linda Mason, Ethan Mason, Olivia Mason, her brother, her sister-in-law, her nephew and niece, all gone. A soft knock came at her door. "Enter," Catherine said, her voice steady. Captain Alan Gregory stepped into the office. He had served as her aide for 5 years, one of the few people who knew about her family on New Haven. "The official statement has been released, General," Alan said quietly. "The hegemony claims it was a misunderstanding. They say they detected what appeared to be weapons fire from the surface." Catherine nodded once. "A weather satellite launch, scheduled weeks in advance." "Yes, ma'am." Alan hesitated. "The President has accepted their explanation. There will be formal protests, but no military response." Catherine turned from the window. Of course, we can't risk open conflict with the hegemony, not yet. Her eyes moved to a photo on her desk. It was the only personal item in the otherwise austere office, John and his family at their going-away party before leaving for New Haven. 3 years ago. Will you be attending the memorial service? Alan asked. No, Catherine replied. Few people knew John was my brother. We kept it that way for security reasons. She walked to her desk and picked up the photo. Olivia was 14. She wanted to attend the academy when she turned 18. Alan remained silent, watching his commander carefully. In all their years working together, he had never seen any crack in her professional demeanor. Even now, her voice remained level, her posture perfect, but he knew her well enough to see the tension in her jaw, the slight tightness around her eyes. Captain, I need complete files on Commander Zax Toril of the hegemony vessel Righteous Claw. Everything we have. Alan blinked in surprise. Ma'am, that information is typically handled by Intelligence Division. I'm aware I want it directly. Personal background, psychological profile, current assignment rotation, crew complement. She set the photo down with careful precision. Also, I need detailed patrol routes of all hegemony vessels near human space for the next 6 months. General, may I ask why? Catherine looked at him, her gaze unflinching. No, you may not. Not yet. Alan straightened his posture. Understood, General. I'll have the information for you by morning. After Alan left, Catherine unlocked a secure drawer in her desk and pulled out a small data drive. She inserted it into her terminal, and images of her family appeared on the screen. John teaching Ethan to fish in the lake near their Earth home. Linda and Olivia cooking together in the kitchen, the 5 of them, Catherine included, at a rare family gathering 2 years ago. Catherine rarely allowed herself to remember her life outside of military service. She had joined the academy at 18, rising quickly through the ranks. When humanity made first contact with alien species 25 years ago, she had been among the first officers trained in xenopolitical strategy. While others saw diplomacy or trade, Catherine had always seen the potential threats. She had built Earth's defense forces into a formidable protection against those threats, and yet she couldn't protect her own family. Catherine closed the image, files, and opened her private communications channel. She sent a message to Admiral William Harris, an old friend who commanded the 7th Fleet. Bill, need to discuss fleet readiness exercise near New Haven sector. Priority Alpha, secure channel, only Mason. Next, she contacted Dr. Emma Reyes, head of Advanced Weapons Research. Emma, need status update on Project Longbow. Time sensitive. Mason. Finally, she messaged General Frank Ortiz of Special Operations Command. Frank, require personnel recommendations for deep cover assignment in hegemony space. Experienced operators only. Mason. She sent all 3 messages with encryption that would bypass the normal chain of command. Nothing in the messages was technically outside her authority, but the pattern would raise questions if noticed. Catherine was counting on her spotless 30-year record to avoid scrutiny. The next morning, Catherine attended the daily security briefing with the Joint Chiefs. They discussed the New Haven incident briefly. The hegemony ambassador has requested a meeting, Admiral Pierce said. They want to smooth things over. Apparently, their High Council is concerned about potential backlash. I'll take the meeting, Catherine said calmly. Several of the other officers looked surprised at her volunteering. She rarely dealt directly with diplomatic matters. Are you sure, General Mason? Admiral Pierce asked. The diplomatic corps usually handles these matters. The hegemony respects military authority more than diplomatic credentials, Catherine replied. They'll appreciate dealing directly with me. Later that day, Catherine sat across from Ambassador Vexcor of the Galactic Hegemony in a conference room at Central Command. 2 diplomatic aides and a translator accompanied the ambassador. Though Vexcor spoke excellent English, General Mason, I bring sincere regrets from the High Council regarding the unfortunate incident at your colony, the ambassador said. The hegemony species had a vaguely insectoid appearance, with multifaceted eyes that reflected light in rainbow patterns. Commander Zax Toril acted on what he believed was a direct threat. Catherine nodded, her face professionally neutral. We understand mistakes happen in tense situations, Ambassador. That's why protocols exist. Indeed. Commander Zax Toril has been reprimanded for his hasty judgment, Vexcor said. The High Council wishes to offer reparations to the families affected. Generous, Catherine said. I'll have my staff provide details for those arrangements. She leaned forward slightly. I'm curious, Ambassador. What exactly is Commander Zax Toril's current assignment? The ambassador's faceplates shifted slightly in what Catherine recognized as surprise. He continues to patrol the border regions. Commander Zax Toril is one of our most experienced border security officers. I see, Catherine said. And these patrols, they regularly come close to our colonies? Only as permitted by our treaty, Vexcor assured her. We maintain a respectful distance. Catherine smiled thinly. Of course. Perhaps someday I might meet the commander to discuss how we might avoid such misunderstandings in the future. The ambassador's compound eyes fixed on Catherine. I'm sure that could be arranged, though the commander's patrol rotation takes him far from Earth. I understand completely, Catherine said. Distance can be such a challenge. After the meeting concluded and the hegemony delegation departed, Captain Allen approached Catherine in the hallway. I have the files you requested, General, he said, quietly handing her a secure datapad. Catherine took it without comment and returned to her office. As the door closed behind her, she finally allowed herself a moment of raw emotion. Her hand tightened on the datapad until her knuckles turned white. I'll see you soon enough, Commander Zax Toril, she whispered. And you'll learn exactly whose family you killed. 2 weeks passed since the attack on New Haven Colony. In her private quarters, General Catherine Mason reviewed the files Captain Allen had gathered for her. The information on Commander Zax Toril was extensive. His military record, psychological, evaluations, known associates, and most importantly, his patrol schedule for the next 6 months. Catherine had slept little during these weeks. When she did sleep, she dreamed of her niece Olivia's laughter, her nephew Ethan's quiet determination, her brother John's steady voice, and Linda's warm smile. She woke each time with renewed purpose. A chime at her door interrupted her study. Enter, she called. Captain Allen stepped inside carrying a secure data tablet. The personnel files you requested, General. Catherine nodded. Close the door, Allen. When he did, she motioned him to sit. For a moment, she studied the man who had been her aide for 5 years. Alan Gregory was 38, with a distinguished service record and a reputation for absolute discretion. More importantly, he was one of the few people Catherine truly trusted. Captain, what I'm about to share with you does not leave this room, she said. I'm initiating Operation Quiet Justice. Officially, it doesn't exist. Alan's expression remained neutral. Understood, General. Catherine activated a holographic display on her desk. A star map appeared showing human territory and the bordering hegemony space. A red line traced the patrol route of the Righteous Claw. In approximately 4 months, Commander Zax Toril's vessel will pass through this sector, Catherine said, highlighting a region of space. It's the furthest point from any hegemony reinforcements in his patrol route. The area contains an asteroid field that will interfere with long-range communications. Alan studied the map. That's also near the edge of our territory. We could have ships there without violating treaty boundaries. Exactly, Catherine said. I want you to command this operation, Alan. I'm promoting you to Major, effective immediately. Alan looked surprised. Thank you, General, but you're the only one I trust with this, Catherine interrupted. The official mission will be listed as a training exercise. Your real objective will be to intercept the Righteous Claw. Intercept, ma'am? Alan asked carefully. Catherine's eyes were cold. Disable, board, and capture Commander Zax Toril, alive and unharmed. I want him brought to Earth for a public trial. Alan processed this information. With respect, General, that's an act of war against the hegemony. Not if it's done correctly, Catherine replied. The hegemony violated our territory and killed our citizens, Under galactic law, we have the right to seek justice for those actions. She pulled up another file on her display. These are your resources. The battleship USS Horizon and 3 stealth destroyers. Crew will be volunteers only, fully briefed on the risks. Alan examined the ship specifications. The Horizon is undergoing refit at Jupiter Station. The refit schedule has been accelerated. She'll be ready in 3 months, Catherine said. In the meantime, your crew will train in simulators for the specific mission parameters. Alan nodded slowly. And the broader strategy, General? Even if we capture Zaxatoral, the hegemony won't take this lightly. Catherine's expression was resolute. They already killed my family, Alan. They just don't know it yet. Only then did understanding dawn on Alan's face. New Haven and the Mason family, they were your relatives. My brother and his family, Catherine confirmed quietly. Few people knew of our relationship. We kept it private for security reasons. Alan sat back, the implications becoming clear. The hegemony has no idea they killed the family of Earth's most senior military commander. And they won't know until the moment I want them to know, Catherine said. She stood and walked to the window, looking out at the Earth below. This isn't about revenge, Alan. This is about justice and establishing a new relationship with the hegemony. Over the next several weeks, Catherine maintained her normal schedule of meetings, briefings, and public appearances. No one in the government or military suspected that she was orchestrating an elaborate operation behind the scenes. She attended another diplomatic reception where hegemony officials were present. Ambassador Vexicor approached her during the event. General Mason, a pleasure to see you again, the ambassador said, faceplates shifting in what passed for a polite greeting among his species. Ambassador, Catherine replied with a cordial nod. I trust the reparations process is moving forward? Indeed. My government has transferred the agreed compensation to the families of those lost in the unfortunate incident. Catherine maintained her professional smile. I'm glad to hear it. Tell me, Ambassador, I understand your species has a concept similar to our justice. What do you call it? The ambassador's compound eyes reflected the light. Zex Haral. It means balance restored. Fascinating, Catherine said. And does Zex Haral require that the one who caused harm face those they harmed? Vexicor tilted his head. In our traditions, yes. The offender must face those they wronged or their kin. But it is a ritual rarely practiced in modern times. Some traditions have value even in modern times, Catherine remarked. Don't you agree? Later that night, Catherine met secretly with Admiral Harris aboard his flagship in Earth orbit. Security protocols ensured their meeting wouldn't appear in any official logs. The Horizon will be ready ahead of schedule, Admiral Harris told her. The weapons upgrades you requested have been implemented under the guise of standard improvements. Catherine nodded. And the crew? All volunteers as you specified. They've been told this is a special mission of vital importance to Earth security. They don't know the details yet. They'll be briefed when the time is right, Catherine said. What about the stealth systems for the destroyers? Dr. Reyes has outdone herself, Harris replied with a small smile. The new absorption technology should make them nearly invisible to hegemony sensors. Catherine studied the technical specifications on a datapad. Good, we'll need every advantage. Admiral Harris hesitated before speaking again. Catherine, we've known each other for 20 years. I've never seen you like this. Catherine looked up. Like what, Bill? This focused, this cold. He lowered his voice. The word is spreading through high command that something big is coming. Not the details, but the sense of it. Let them wonder, Catherine said. When the time comes, they'll understand. She returned to her quarters on Earth and opened a secure channel to Major Allen, who was now at Jupiter Station overseeing the Horizon's refit. Progress report? She asked. On schedule, General, Allen replied. The crew is coming together well. They're some of our best. They'll need to be, Catherine said. The Intel Division reports that Commander Zaxatoral has been given additional patrol responsibilities. He's becoming something of a hero in the hegemony for his decisive action at New Haven. Allen's expression darkened. They're celebrating him? For now, Catherine said. Her voice remained calm, but her eyes held a determination that made Alan straighten his posture. In 3 months and 17 days, the hegemony will learn what happens when you harm a human family, especially when that family belongs to a general who has spent her entire career preparing for this moment. Alan nodded. We won't fail you, General. No, Catherine agreed. We won't fail them. My brother's family deserves justice, and the hegemony deserves to learn that humans are not to be underestimated. The asteroid field between human and hegemony space was a perfect place for an ambush. Massive rocks tumbled slowly through the void, some as small as cars, others larger than cities. Major Alan Gregory stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, watching the tactical display as his 3 stealth destroyers moved into position. All ships report ready, sir, Lieutenant Clark said from the communication station. Alan nodded. Maintain stealth protocols. No transmissions unless absolutely necessary. For 3 months they had trained for this mission. Every crew member knew their role exactly. What most of them didn't know was the personal connection that had set this operation in motion. They believed they were capturing a war criminal who had attacked a human colony without provocation, which was true. But only Alan and a few senior officers knew about General Mason's family. Sensor contact, reported Commander Kelly from the science station. Hegemony ship approaching the asteroid field. Configuration matches the Righteous Claw. Alan felt his pulse quicken. Right on schedule. Is General Mason's ship in position? Yes, sir. The Phoenix is holding at the edge of the field, out of sensor range. Alan had been surprised when Catherine told him she would be present for the operation, aboard a small, fast diplomatic vessel. I need to look him in the eyes, she had said. Alan understood. This was personal. Begin Operation Quiet Justice, Alan ordered. Phase 1. Throughout the asteroid field, small devices activated, sending out carefully calibrated energy pulses. To hegemony sensors, they would appear as natural radiation from mineral deposits in the asteroids. On the bridge of the Righteous Claw, Commander Zaxitoral was bored. Border Patrol duty had become routine since the New Haven incident. The humans had protested diplomatically, but took no military action. It confirmed what many in the hegemony already believed. Humans were physically impressive, but lacked the resolve for real conflict. Entering the asteroid field, Commander, his navigation officer reported. Sensors detecting higher than normal radiation levels. Zaxtoral's faceplates shifted slightly. Adjust shields accordingly. Maintain course. The Righteous Claw moved, deeper into the asteroid field. On their sensors, the radiation readings grew stronger, masking the presence of the human vessels hiding behind larger asteroids. Sir, I'm having difficulty maintaining clear sensor readings, the science officer reported. The radiation is interfering with our long-range communications as well. Not unexpected in this region, Zaxtoral said dismissively. Continue on course. We'll regain clear communications once we're through. On the horizon, Alan watched the hegemony ship move exactly where they wanted it. Phase 2, he ordered. The stealth destroyers activated their engines, moving rapidly into blocking positions ahead of and behind the hegemony vessel. Still undetected, they waited for Alan's command. Righteous Claw is now at optimal position, Commander Kelly reported. They're completely cut off from hegemony communications. Alan nodded. Execute Phase 3. Full power to weapons and shields. Disable their engines and weapons but minimize hull damage. The horizon emerged from behind an asteroid twice its size, suddenly appearing on the Righteous Claw's sensors. At the same moment, the 3 stealth destroyers decloaked, surrounding the hegemony vessel. On the Righteous Claw's bridge, alarms blared. Commander, multiple human warships detected, the tactical officer shouted. They've surrounded us. Zaxtoral rose from his command chair in shock. Impossible. How did they get so close without detection? They're targeting our engines and weapon systems, the tactical officer reported frantically. Shields at maximum. Open a channel, Zaxtoral ordered, and prepare to. Before he could finish, Precision fire from the human vessels struck the righteous claw. The ship shuddered violently. Direct hits to our main engines and primary weapons array, the tactical officer reported. Shields failing. Zaxtoral's compound eyes reflected the emergency lights flashing across his bridge. Return fire, target the largest vessel. Weapons systems not responding, Commander. A human voice came through their communication system. Hegemony vessel Righteous Claw. This is Major Alan Gregory of the Earth Defense Forces. Your ship has been disabled. Power down all remaining systems and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. Zaxtoral's faceplates clicked rapidly in agitation. This is an act of war. You have violated hegemony space. Check your navigational data, Commander. Alan's voice replied calmly. You are currently 0.3 light-years inside human territory. Under galactic law, we have every right to intercept vessels that have previously attacked our colonies. The navigation officer confirmed this with a shocked expression. He's right, Commander. The radiation interference must have affected our navigation systems. Zaxtoral knew this was no accident. The humans had planned this meticulously. What are your demands? He asked, his voice tight with anger. No demands, Commander, just justice. Power down your systems. You have 1 minute to comply. Zaxtoral looked around his bridge. His ship was crippled, surrounded by 4 human warships. His crew looked to him for direction. Power down all systems except life support, he ordered bitterly. Prepare to be boarded. On the horizon, Alan received confirmation that the hegemony vessel had complied. Phase 4, he said. Boarding teams, move in. Security teams, stand by. Armored shuttles launched from the horizon and the destroyers, carrying heavily armed Marines. They docked with the Righteous Claw, securing critical areas of the ship within minutes. The hegemony crew, stunned by the precision of the attack, offered no resistance. Alan activated his comm. General Mason, the Righteous Claw is secured, no casualties on either side. Well done, Major. Catherine's voice came through clearly. The Phoenix is approaching. Prepare Commander Zaxtoral. For transfer, the Marine team reached the bridge of the Righteous Claw. Their commander, a stern-faced woman named Captain Rodriguez, approached Zaxtoral. Commander Zaxtoral, you are being detained for the unlawful attack on New Haven Colony resulting in the deaths of 47 human civilians, she announced. You will be transferred to our vessel and transported to Earth to face trial under galactic law. Zaxtoral's faceplates shifted in what humans had learned to recognize as confusion. This operation, for a single colonial attack? The diplomatic matter was settled. Reparations were paid. Captain Rodriguez didn't respond to his question. This way, Commander, she said, gesturing toward the exit. Under heavy guard, Zaxtoral was escorted through his ship. His crew watched in silence as their commander was led away. At the airlock, another human ship had docked, smaller and sleeker than the military vessels. The airlock opened, and General Catherine Mason stepped through. She wore her full dress uniform, medals gleaming on her chest. Her posture was perfect, her face composed. Zaxtoral had met human military officials before. He recognized the insignia of a high-ranking officer, but he didn't recognize this particular human. Catherine walked directly to him, stopping just a few feet away. For a long moment, she simply looked at him, studying every detail of his face. Commander, Zaxtoral, she said finally, her voice steady. I am General Catherine Mason, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. Zaxtoral's faceplates shifted in surprise. A Supreme Commander participating personally in a capture operation was unprecedented. 4 months ago, Catherine continued, your ship fired on an abandoned agricultural outpost on New Haven Colony. Do you remember? It was a military necessity, Zaxtoral replied stiffly. We detected what appeared to be weapons fire. Catherine's expression didn't change. Among the 47 civilians killed were John Mason, Linda Mason, Ethan Mason, and Olivia Mason. Zaxtoral's compound eyes fixed on her face. I regret the civilian casualties. As I told your government. John Mason was my brother, Catherine interrupted, her voice still perfectly controlled. His wife and children were my family. For the first time, Zaxtoral felt a chill of genuine fear. The implications were suddenly clear. This wasn't a random border incident that had escalated. He had killed the family of the most powerful military commander in human space. The hegemony, Zaxtoral began, but words failed him. The hegemony, Catherine said evenly, is about to learn an important lesson about humanity. When you harm one of us, you answer to all of us. She stepped back. Take him to Earth. His trial begins in 1 week. The trial of Commander Zaxtoral became the most watched event in human history. Every settlement from Earth to the farthest colony streamed the proceedings. Even alien species from across the galaxy tuned in, fascinated by the confrontation between humans and the powerful hegemony. The trial took place in the Grand Hall of Justice in Geneva. The room was imposing with its high ceilings and ancient wooden panels, a deliberate contrast to the sleek technology that filled most modern buildings. Commander Zaxtoral sat at the defendant's table, his insectoid form looking alien and vulnerable amidst the human architecture. General Catherine Mason sat in the front row of the gallery, her uniform perfect, her posture straight. She had not missed a single minute of the week-long proceedings. Each day she watched in silence as evidence was presented, witnesses testified, and experts explained the laws that had been broken. The prosecution calls General Catherine Mason, the lead prosecutor announced on the final day. A murmur ran through the crowd. Until now, Catherine had been only an observer. Many people still didn't know her connection to the victims. Catherine walked to the witness stand with measured steps. After being sworn in, she faced the prosecutor calmly. General Mason, please state your relationship to the victims of the New Haven colony attack, the prosecutor said. John Mason was my younger brother, Catherine replied, her voice clear and steady. Linda Mason was my sister-in-law. Ethan and Olivia Mason were my nephew and niece. Gasps echoed through the hall. On screens across human space, people leaned forward in shock. Even some of Catherine's closest colleagues were learning this information for the first time. Why was this relationship not publicly known? The prosecutor asked. For security reasons, Catherine explained. As Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, my family connections could have made them targets. We maintained separate lives for their protection. Her voice held the slightest hint of irony on these last words. Zaxtoral's faceplates clicked rapidly as he finally understood the full magnitude of his actions. Could you tell the court about your family? The prosecutor asked more gently. For the first time, Catherine's perfect composure softened slightly. John was a scientist who chose to live a quiet life. He believed in humanity's peaceful expansion to the stars. His wife Linda was a teacher. Their children, Ethan and Olivia, were bright, curious young people. Olivia wanted to attend the Space Academy when she turned 18. She would have made an excellent officer. Catherine's testimony lasted 30 minutes. She spoke not only of her family but also of the other 43 civilians who died that day. She named each one. When she finished and returned to her seat, the hall remained silent. The verdict came swiftly, guilty on all counts. Commander Zaxtoral was sentenced to 20 years in a human prison, a punishment considered both just and merciful under galactic law, but the trial was only part of Catherine's strategy. 3 days later, the Hegemony High Council requested an emergency meeting with Earth's government. The humans chose General Mason to lead their delegation. The meeting took place on neutral territory, a space station orbiting a gas giant at the border between human and hegemony space. 6 members of the High Council faced Catherine and her small team across a large table. General Mason, began High Counselor Vex Moore, the most senior member. The trial of Commander Zaxtoral has caused great concern among our people. His actions caused great concern among ours, Catherine replied evenly. We agreed to reparations, the High Counselor said, faceplates shifting in agitation. The diplomatic matter was settled. Money cannot replace lives, Catherine said. Justice required more. Another counselor leaned forward. Your operation was brilliantly executed. Our military analysts are impressed. Catherine nodded once in acknowledgement but remained silent. What we find most concerning, Vexmore continued, is not the capture itself, but what it revealed about human capabilities. Your vessels approached undetected. Your weapons disabled a military ship with surgical precision. Your boarding team secured the vessel without casualties. All true, Catherine agreed. We had not believed humans possessed such technology or tactical skill, a third counselor admitted. Catherine allowed herself a small smile. There is much about humanity the hegemony doesn't know. Vexmore's compound eyes reflected the light as he studied Catherine, including, it seems, how far a human will go to achieve justice for family. Especially that, Catherine agreed. The High Council proposes a new arrangement, Vexmore said after a pause. A revised treaty that acknowledges humanity's capabilities and concerns. For the next 6 hours they negotiated. The hegemony agreed to pull back its patrols from near-human colonies. Joint notification protocols would prevent misunderstandings about military movements. Trade restrictions would be eased. Most importantly, the hegemony formally recognized humanity as an equal power in the galactic community, a status they had previously denied. When the meeting concluded, one of Catherine's aides whispered, "They gave us everything we wanted." "They gave us what they think we wanted," Catherine corrected quietly. "What we really wanted was respect. Now we have it." 2 weeks later, Catherine stood alone at the memorial site on New Haven Colony. A simple stone monument listed the names of all 47 victims with the Mason family at the top. Catherine placed her hand on the cool surface, tracing her brother's name with her fingers. "It's done," she said softly. "They understand now." A light breeze rustled through nearby trees as Catherine stood in silence. After several minutes, she heard footsteps approaching. Major Alan Gregory stopped a respectful distance away. "The New Haven Defense Station is nearly complete, General," he reported. "It will be fully operational within the month." Catherine nodded. The station was part of the new treaty, officially designated as a joint research facility, but equipped with defensive capabilities that would prevent any repeat of the tragedy. "The President has approved the Mason Protocol," Alan continued. "All colonies will now have enhanced early warning systems and rapid response capabilities." "Good," Catherine said. She took one last look at the memorial before turning away. "What about the hegemony fleet movements?" "They've withdrawn to the agreed boundaries," Alan reported. "Their communications show they're being extremely cautious about any operations near human space." As they walked back toward the shuttle, Catherine noticed new construction throughout the colony. New Haven was growing again, people moving forward with their lives despite the tragedy. "Do you think they'll honor the treaty, General?" Alan asked. Catherine considered this. "They will, not because of the paper we signed, but because they finally understand something important about humanity." "What's that?" Catherine looked up, at the sky, where stars were just becoming visible in the fading daylight. "That we remember, that we protect our own, and that we're willing to wait as long as necessary to make things right." Somewhere among those stars, Commander Zaxteral sat in a cell, the first hegemony officer ever to face human justice. In meeting rooms across hegemony space, military planners revised their assessments of human capabilities and resolve, and, in 1,000 taverns and gathering places, hegemony citizens whispered the story of the human general whose family was killed, and how she had changed the balance of power in the galaxy without firing a single shot. The Mason family was gone, but their legacy would shape human history for generations to come.